Hi, welcome to Go Within Yoga. My name is Judy, and I just want to share a few thoughts with you if you happen to be moving through the grieving process, as I am, of things that have helped me personally. It's been about a month since I lost my mom as I'm filming this, and it hasn't been horrible for me. I've already been through the first Mother's Day without her. I think part of that is that my mother lived a very long life. She was 97 when she passed. She'd be the first to tell you she had a great life, even though she had a lot of issues, like everybody does. Thank goodness she didn't have a whole lot of pain. I have a friend whose mother died from cancer about a month before, and it wasn't great. So I'm very grateful that we didn't have to deal with that. She didn't have to deal with that. We were very lucky that way. I also think part of the reason I haven't struggled with it a whole lot, I'm not saying I don't feel things, I do, is that it was a very long and slow decline for my mother. Now, your experience may be very, very different, but I'm sharing what has worked for me, so I just thought I'd talk about it. One of the first things that happens to have worked for me, and if you're a man, this probably won't work for you. So this bracelet I'm wearing was my mother's, and she wore it frequently. I have several other bracelets that I took, another silver bracelet that she wore daily, as far as I know. And then there was a silver bracelet with a small amethyst in it that I don't remember seeing her wear. But amethyst happens to be my birthstone, so I took that as well. And I wear one of those three every single day so far. I'm sure at some point I will stop doing that. And there are even days already when I'm almost halfway through the day. I'm like, ooh, I didn't put a bracelet on today. But I find it comforting. It's a link to my mother. The last month with my mom, my sleep was not great. I was really, really tired. I was visiting more often, and she's not, doesn't live far away, but not close either. So it was just tiring. Physically, it was tiring. Emotionally, I knew she was declining. I knew things were coming to a head really, really soon. I could tell. So my sleep was disrupted often. I was not sleeping well. Most of the time I sleep okay. I have my nights, but most of the time I do sleep okay. But I was not sleeping well that month, and I was very, very tired. And it's interesting, a little sidebar here. I'm reading a book called The Grieving Body. I shared some of that in a previous vlog. It's about how grief affects your body. And everybody's different, of course. Once again, we're all individuals. I've gotten to know some of my stress signs over the years of dealing with this. The poor sleep, when normally I sleep pretty good, that's one of them. Another one is canker sores. I get canker sores when I'm really, really stressed. And I did, in fact, towards the end. I can feel hot. I don't get hot flushes. That was not something I struggled with, but I can feel warm. I can feel flushed. Earlier in this journey, I was actually getting a lot of fevers. So a fever is a stress sign for me. So enough of that. Another habit that I took up recently, I read in one of these books about how the Buddhists believe that it takes 49 days when somebody passes for them to find their next body, basically, for the soul to find their next body. And they were doing a practice of writing a haiku for 49 days. And even though I'm not a writer, I am certainly not a poet, I like that idea. And so I started to do it, and I actually love it. I'm not saying I'm any good, but I write a haiku every day. I got a course on haiku for healing on Daily Om. I'm enjoying that course. It gives a lot of prompts and different subjects to work on. So that's another thing that I'm doing. What else? What else? Oh, yes. Acupressure. That's something I do regularly anyway, but I find it helpful. Yoga Nidra. That's something I do quite a bit when I am feeling tired and depleted. It's actually gotten me through these last few years. It is a practice of stillness where you're listening to someone take you through a calming practice where you can be sitting up, you can be laying down, but you're just still. I personally find it very, very helpful. I hope to at some point get certified as a Yoga Nidra teacher. I have done a lot of study about it, but I want to get certified at some point. Very, very helpful to me. May not be your thing. Pranayama, I talk about that a lot in my practices. Breathwork. You always have your breath. So, so helpful. One of the other things I've been doing is getting back into my creativity. So I don't think I've talked about it much or at all. I have always been an artist my entire life. Always drawing growing up. I can guarantee you I was doodling in classes. I was a graphic designer at one point in my life. But life happens. And so there wasn't a lot of drawing. I painted for a long time, quite a few decades ago. So one of the things I took up a couple of years ago was watercolors. I didn't used to paint in watercolors, and I really enjoy that. And painted for about a year and a half, and then there was like a 6 months time where I barely painted. I got a course called Watercolor Free Relaxation. I'll try and link that up. I highly recommend it. I tend to be a very, very realistic drawer and painter and not into abstract stuff. This is very abstract, and it's meant to be calming and get you into a flow state, and I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. So I'll try and remember to link that up below because I really recommend this teacher and that course. There's a lot of courses like this. I'm glad I landed with this teacher. Really, really enjoy it. I'm drawing more. I drew for years before I ever picked up a paintbrush. I used to be very good, and now I'm okay. But I got a book recently. This woman also has a website, and I signed up for some of her free stuff, and I really liked it, so I got her book. It's called Drawing Yourself Calm. I think that's what it's called. And it's another very abstract practice, but it's very slow drawing. It's very calming. You do not have to be an artist for either one of these practices, so I'll try to remember to link that up as well. And it's something that can be done just a little bit at a time. So I got 5 minutes, and instead of scrolling through Facebook, I could be drawing, and it does calm me. Everybody's different, once again. And the last two things I want to share with you are grace, giving myself a lot of grace. Knowing when I have energy to do something, when I don't have energy to do something. For instance, this week, a friend invited me to a concert. I am an early to bed and early to rise gal. I have a really strict bedtime of 9 p.m. because whether I go to bed at 9 or whether I go to bed at midnight, I'm waking up at 5, 5:30, maybe even earlier. It's just going to happen. But a friend invited me last minute to a concert, and I was like, yes, I like the singer, absolutely yes. I knew it was going to completely wipe me out. It did, and it was so worth it. So the day following the concert, I rested instead of filming this video, as a matter of fact, because I knew I was just too tired. I went to bed at midnight, I woke up at 5:30. And so give yourself grace. Even if nobody else recognizes that you need more rest, that brings me to my next point, rest. Your body has a lot of physiological reactions to grief. You may or may not feel them, but whether or not you feel them, they are happening. Your heart rate can increase, your blood pressure can increase, your immunity can go down, you can catch colds and sicknesses. Our society does not appreciate rest enough. I have come to see that that's the one gift of the caretaking and many years of being completely exhausted, is that I have come to see how important rest is. Now, everybody needs a different amount of rest, but there are a lot of people around, they're walking around saying, oh no, I don't need to sleep 8 hours a day, 5 is fine. And for some people that's true. For a lot of people it really isn't. You just get used to that tiredness and operating on, maybe a half full battery, maybe if you're lucky. The day after the concert, I have a fitness watch, and it has something called a body battery, which I find super, super useful. So it goes from 100% to 5%. I've never seen it lower than 5% anyway. When I had COVID and a few times when I've been sick, it has been at 5%. It's been, when I first got the watch, I was regularly at like 90s and 100s and all the time. But over the last couple of years, I've struggled a lot, and it's like it can be 50, it can be 100, rarely. Hangs out more often at like 75%. So I'm really working on that. But the morning after the concert, it was 24%. That is not good. But I rested. This morning, as a matter of fact, it was 67, which is still not great, but a hell of a lot better. Okay. I think that's enough. I also filmed for you a practice that you may come to after this, or maybe you come to before. I'm going to link that up. It is about what will help you to move through grief. And so if you have a journal handy, maybe some of my suggestions resonated with you. Maybe they absolutely don't, but something else popped into your mind. Go ahead and write it down. And it could also be maybe not just moving yourself for grief. Maybe it's moving yourself for anger, because the wood element of spring is associated with anger. There's a lot of growth going on, and sometimes we're getting very angry and we're not flexible enough and we're breaking. So maybe it's what is going to help me move through the anger and into calm. And I'm also going to link up the metal element. So I'll link up the previous practice, which is about what will move me through grief. It's a wood element practice. And I will also link up a calm heart meditation. Thank you so much for joining me today. Actually, I'm going to ask you what moves you through grief. What moves you through anger? I would love to hear your comments. Drop them below. I think that's it. I've been here for a while now. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that some of these suggestions are helpful to you. Go ahead and look at the description below here. I'm going to link up some of the things that I talked about today. And have a great rest of your day.